I have a gentleman here with me who's called the nicest man in advertising, and he's John Mescall. He's the global chair of Buy the Network, and also joining me is Yash Kulshrestha. He's the CCO of ATT, which is part of Buy the Network. Thank you for joining me.
You are very welcome. Thank you for having us.
You know, you've spent a good number of years at Mescall, and when you moved to Buy the Network, what was the biggest difference that you possibly saw between the two?
Yeah, I think, through my career I've had my own agency for 10 years, so independent creative agency, and then I've worked inside, one of the largest networks in the world. So I think at the core, we're all there to do the same thing, which is solve business problems with creativity. But the structure of a large holding company network and Buy the Network is quite different. I think the fundamental difference is Buy the Network is made up 100% of independent agencies that are owned by creative people. Mm-hmm. So the ownership of the network is owned by those creative people. Mm-hmm. And what that does is it puts not just creative at the core, but creative people at the core. I've always believed that the way to great work, and the way to great work quickly, is to shorten the distance between the client, the person commissioning the brief or having the problem, and the people who are going to solve that problem. And with Buy the Network, the first person you talk to is the person who is going to solve your problem and work on it. And I think there's something fundamental that happens when the only decision makers in the network are creative people. I think the best agencies have always been owned and run by creatives. Now, it's not to say that the global, the big holding company proposition is wrong, but what we believe is, creativity is such a powerful tool that we want to constantly find ways to get straight to that. It actually makes it more seamless, more efficient, quicker. It's actually cheaper, if that matters. And it's like, to be honest, we can get to an amazing solution to a problem in a third of the time that it would take in an organization that has layers. That takes you time, literally, to get to, the people who are going to solve the problem. And also, there is we use the word freedom. We talk about freedom a lot. And from the perspective of people who join us as agencies, they have the freedom to actually, work the way they want to work and have always wanted to work. But, for, our clients, what we're offering is the freedom to be able to choose a better way. There's always been great independent agencies, and there's a lot in the world, and they're growing all the time. It really feels like the next wave, or the current wave of advertising, and maybe the next wave. But the difference is they've always been independent. Right. So, if you're with a big network and you want to think, I'd actually quite like to see what it's like to work for an independent agency, you haven't necessarily, it's been hard to have that choice. Because, you want everything the big network can give you, but, maybe I need to operate in 5 different countries or different markets, or, I need certain offerings that perhaps that indie agency doesn't offer. But we're now giving people the freedom to be able to try something new, because we've built a network at scale. So you can have the independent creativity, but you can have the scale, you can have the, pins on the map, and you can have, incredible specialties. You can work with, God, I'm going on a lot, and it was a very short question with a very long answer. But you can work with an agency inside our network that can do almost everything for you, and you can add on to that. You can, if what you also need is someone who works in product development for, tech solutions and sustainability, you can have that too. Right. And I think there's a wonderful, it's a new model. This is, people are still getting their heads around what this really means. There's no top-down hierarchy. And it's quite cooperative. So again, the best work always happens when people work together and multiple minds attack the problem. And that's kind of what we can do, which I'm really excited about.
Absolutely.
And also tell me, Yash, as part of Buy the Network, what is the most defining aspect, considering that, it's a network that literally stands for freedom of agencies?
Right. See, I think freedom can be interpreted in many ways, but I can speak for ATT for sure that for us, it has been about borderless creativity. The fact that we worked on Snapchat global campaign, we work with teams in US, in Mexico, in Europe, and we got a chance to work on that campaign and work not just for Indian market but give ideas for the global market as well. And same goes for Netflix campaign that we did in Thailand and Europe. So it just allows you to not believe in borders, work with the best talent in different countries, and also get inspired to do some great stuff as well. Having said that, it also enables for a lot of global brands to see India in a very different light. It's not just the localization of content, but how India is also becoming a global population. It's not just what Indians like to do in India. It's also how global Indians live in India. So that flavor is also can be brought by this kind of borderless network. And a lot of Indian companies who have gone global, like Infosys of the world.
Right.
Now they have a chance to partner with an Indian company who understand cultural nuances really well, and work with larger companies and companies outside India market to have a better global creative footprint. I think that's what triggers us the most.